You use the word hoarding. Is it possible that perhaps organizations may not even be completely sure of what the data is in their possession?
Absolutely. It's highly possible, unless they've got someone who's looking at the data itself, classifying it is very difficult to be able to tell. Say you've been in business for 15 years. How do I know that when Tim walked through my door 10 years ago and I asked, do you want to sign up to my marketing, that Tim will still have all exact same details now that you did 15 years ago, and that I probably shouldn't be keeping a copy of Tim, considering I haven't seen Tim in 5 years. So you could have moved interstate for all they know, but they may have some data on you that is personally sensitive. It could be, I mean, I hate to say this, but the club's breach, every time we walk into a club, we're asked to provide our driver's license. That information is so sensitive. The ability to replicate a person online using that, socially engineering them using their, social media, and couple that to create online accounts that they could use to purchase or apply for credit cards, for example, and therefore have access to financial details. That's the sort of stuff that gets really, icky, let's call it, because it can potentially happen. And when we share that data, what's the onus on someone to remove it when it's done? It's like, just don't share my data, firstly. And also, how do I know? I mean, hands up to the audience. How many of you have ever read the terms and conditions when you signed up to something? If you've ever read the terms and conditions to TikTok, you wouldn't sign up. It literally says in its terms and conditions, we will take note of your keystrokes, of everything you do, of your user behavior, even when it's sitting dormant in the background of your device. That's the sort of thing that we don't, as consumers, read. And sure, there are safeguards that are now coming in through legal aspects, but that doesn't apply to certain areas of organizations, especially not when data, sovereignty is something they need to consider. Certainly, I'll give it that.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I don't read the terms and conditions. I should. You obviously do. The fact that you were able to quote that to me about TikTok, you've obviously read it. You must read a lot of terms and conditions.
Look, I'm not an avid lawyer. I could give you that much. But I definitely I concern myself with some of them, especially the ones that I use regularly. In the event that I'm sharing some data, I will use, as I said, an intermediary. Prime example, Tim, using something like PayPal to pay online is always handy. You're not actually giving that retail organization website the access to your credit card details. And that in itself creates a level of, security. The other thing I love to tell people is prepaid credit cards are not a bad thing. If you are to shop online, using a prepaid credit card's never a bad thing. You can always top money up using these prepaid credit cards, make the purchase. If you feel that it's an insecure potential, use that. Use PayPal. Don't give your credit card to a website, especially when you're not sure about it. That's the last thing I'd suggest you do.
Wow, this is gold. I feel like this conversation is going to have so many actionable tips. Um,
I'm hoping only a few of you, take this on board, and it makes a dramatic difference. Our online activity makes such an important foothold to what we do in the future. One of the key factors I love to tell people, don't share photos of your kids online. If you've ever
oh,
seen the Deutsche Telekom ad for how AI can create deep fakes or even age a person, their data that's online today can be used against them in 10 years to create online identification, to create online accounts. Yeah, at that point, they don't have control of their data. Your children do not have control of what you share today. And whatever you do not put photos of your children up online. I know it's great to celebrate them, but having an identifiable voice and face of a child could just be misappropriated in the future. So if anyone's listening, please Google Deutsche Telekom children ad. It's shocking about how it can be misappropriated.